So, game 2 of the semi-finals from Crawley. This time, he changes it up, doesn't go with his perish option, he goes with his Mega Gardevoir. I brought Heatran because it would give me a better matchup against the Amoonguss lead, but it ends up working out quite nicely here. Because I feel that Gardevoir is kind of forced to protect, just to scout out some stuff. Could be the Flash Cannon on Heatran. And I also know that Thundurus isn't Scarfed, it's Life Orb, so my Thundurus outspeeds, and I get the Smackdown, because I can't go for Wild Charge, it's got Volt Absorb. Smackdown is my best play against the Thundurus, but it Volt Switches out against my Heatran, and with that Life Orb it does a lot of damage, way more than I was expecting. See, I could have gone for Smackdown Earth Power onto this Thundurus, which I probably should have done, especially because it would have been very stylish, but I end up going for a Substitute, which was probably the wrong play. Because of that Volt Switch damage, and the Substitute damage, I'm put in range of 2 Hyper Voices, and because it goes through Substitute, this sub doesn't really help me. It does against the Politoed, but not against the Hyper Voices. So, I switch out Thundurus into Venusaur here, take any Hyper Voice that's going to be happening because he wants to hit behind the sub, and probably, hopefully, a Scald. Because he could Ice Beam here, but Scald is as powerful as Ice Beam against Thundurus, and it can get a burn. So I was hoping for Scald here, and I got it. So if he went for Ice Beam, that would have done a lot more damage. So he could go for the Psychic here, but I expect him to go for another Hyper Voice, because he wants to take out this Heatran. So I'm getting chip damage with Earth Power, putting it in range of hopefully Sludge Bomb. I think, yeah, that would probably be in range of Sludge Bomb. And also of my Thundurus' moves, so it was already in Wild Charge, I didn't really need that Earth Power chip. I should have probably gone for the Politoed there, because this Giga Drain does not do as much as I thought. It's a 2-hit KO, and he has leftovers, so with the Earth Power damage, it would have definitely been in range of another Giga Drain. But it's not up for leftovers. He gets scored off, and second time he doesn't get the burn, which is quite fortunate for me. So, he gets that leftovers recovery, putting him out potentially of another Giga Drain. I get to bring in my Thundurus, and this time I lock myself into Skydrop, because I expect that Amoonguss to come in. There it is. And Skydrop is not affected by Rage Powder, so even though he protects this turn, next turn I can still get the Skydrop off against this Gardevoir, even if Amoonguss Rage Powders. So I was half hoping he didn't know that Skydrop isn't affected by Rage Powder, and he doesn't know because he goes for it. It's not very common knowledge because Skydrop's not a very common move, but Skydrop goes through the Rage Powder, takes up this Gardevoir, and because of my Choice Band, I'm pretty confident it will KO next turn. So I get free Sludge Bomb onto Amoonguss. Him going for Rage Powder didn't really affect anything. If he was going for Spore onto Thundurus, he'd have missed anyway. But there, because it's at half health, it gets KO'd by this Choice Band Skydrop, which is very nice because he is left with just his Thundurus on a tiny bit of HP as his only real form of offense left. He can get a free Spore onto my Thundurus, but even if he brings in his own Thundurus, I can just KO it straight up with any move from my Venusaur. So there we go, Thundurus is put to sleep. It won't be moving next turn, it's got guaranteed sleep turn. And there is the Thundurus. Could have brought in Politoed, but that wouldn't have put on any offensive pressure. And here, he goes for Hidden Power Ice, which is weaker than Thunderbolt would have been, and I survive. So if he'd have gone for Thunderbolt, that would have KO'd Thundurus, but he didn't, he went for Hidden Power. Thundurus survives this turn, and I get to KO Thundurus with a Sludge Bomb. So he's got not much offensive pressure on his side at all. He's obviously expecting a switch there, we went for Spore onto Venusaur, but now with Politoed and Amoonguss left against a Mega Venusaur, I feel quite confident with this match. So the next turn, he's obviously going to protect Politoed from the Giga Drain and get the 4 HP Giga Drain onto Thundurus, but I don't see any reason to predict that. So I just let Thundurus go down because it was messing with sleep turns anyway. Safe Giga Drain even if it was going into a protect, and there's a Giga Drain to knock out my Thundurus. Wasn't that bothered because Venusaur was going to win this match pretty much, unless he gets a burn and a million protects. So there's the leftovers. It's definitely out of Giga Drain range now. It could have been a low roll to begin with and I could have got a high roll, but now it's pretty much guaranteed to be out of it. So here's Landorus, and I don't think he'll Rage Powder because I could easily go for a Rock Slide. But again, I don't want to miss a Rock Slide because of the spread move potential, I don't expect Rage Powder, and I feel safe going for the Superpower. So that's definitely put this Politoed into KO range with the Giga Drain. If he would have Rage Powdered, it would have taken away the Superpower, Politoed would have lived, and I would have got a useless Superpower onto this onto the Amoonguss, and Landorus would have probably gone down. And then he could have got Burns to clutch the match out. So that's why I went for Superpower. I felt safe that he wouldn't go for Rage Powder. He puts Landorus to sleep, but the game is over, because he cannot knock out Venusaur with his Amoonguss. And it's just a case of Sludge Bombing until he's down. There's one. Gets the Giga Drain onto Landorus. Doing decent damage. I don't think that roll showed that it could have got the knockout. I don't think it would have done. But there's another Tennis Feet. Doesn't really matter. It's just a case of getting the Sludge Bomb off. And that KOs the Amoonguss. And I'm into the final of the PC, which is great. Second final of this season. So I'm hoping to end on two wins. We'll see.